Welcome back to the channel, everyone. We're going to be doing a bit of an old school style video the way we used to do it before I changed it before Charlotte, just because of the fact I'm not live in Epping for the New England Nationals, so I can't get the interviews and the B-roll clips the way I would have liked. But we will be back in Bristol, and that's where we're going to keep doing it. So when we're at home, we'll have the old style videos, and when we're at the track, we'll do the more TV produced style videos that you've seen within the last couple of weeks. I do appreciate the feedback that I have received off those videos, both from friends who watch the channel as well as people down in the comments. Yes, I do read all the comments you guys post, even the ones that are held for review. And of course, the people in the pits who do stop and say hi and talk about how much they like the new video style, which again, to anybody who stops in the pits, thank you so much for saying hi and just stopping me. I know a lot of people have commented as well that, you know, they don't want to bother me. They're afraid or shy that they think they're going to get in my way. If you just stop and say hi real quick, that's fine. I have no problem with doing that. Thank you to anybody who recognizes me enough at the racetrack and want to stop and say hi. That's still kind of a crazy feeling in of itself. We do have a lot to go over. We just went through the 4 rounds of qualifying on Friday and on Saturday live from the New England Dragway for the 2025 New England Nationals. A bit of an interesting way that they did this, by the way, because of the fact that, you know, this is in New England. A lot of tracks are starting to add their own kind of gimmicks to the event. This year, the NHRA and the New England Dragway decided to add the #1 qualifier, and it's kind of fun. It was a lot of fun to watch on Friday. If you weren't paying attention, if you didn't follow along, if you're going to be watching qualifying tonight, you'll see it. I can't remember the company's name off the top of my head, but they made a rocking chair out of lobster cages. It was a really neat deal. So same way that they have the saddle deal for the Texas Metroplex and the Fall Nationals, where #1 qualifier on Friday sits on the saddle until they either get bumped or until they finish #1. Same way with them. They sit on this rocking chair and they hold a lobster. They named Larry. I would have named it Pinchy, but they named it Larry. Really cool deal. It was a lot of fun to watch. Ron Capps had fun with it, almost kissed it. Austin Pratt got scared of it. Antron Brown was completely behind it. He was cradling the lobster like he knew exactly what to do with it, and every other driver was getting really shy and nervous being around that thing. But you know, shout out to Antron Brown. Him and Ron Capps, of course the two of them would be doing it, were just really fully behind the thing and just fully embraced it, which is a really cool deal. The rocking chair, by the way, is going to be going to the winner of Funny Car tomorrow. I don't know the reason fully of why behind they chose Funny Car. I think it was just kind of thing they all sat down and decided that was the best one to give it to. So there will be a rocking chair up for grabs tomorrow made out of lobster cages. Austin Prague was the one who sat out the longest, went early in the Q2 run, ended the night in the #1 spot, something that he held on to, which we'll talk about later. He had a blazing fast weekend so far, but also a really interesting weekend looking into Sunday for race day as well. But it's going to be a lot of fun. Looking through the qualifying results today, we have the 3 classes of Pro Stock, Funny Car, and Top Fuel, and a really big surprise in the #1 spot for Pro Stock, that being Cody Coughlin, the newest addition of the Coughlin family to the Pro Stock scene. He ends up #1 qualifier with a 6:53 with a 7, tying Greg Anderson, but beating him a mile an hour with a 210.28 mile an hour run to Greg Anderson's 209. He also, I believe, had the fastest run in Q4, so he has a really fast race car, which is something that we've seen in the past, especially from the KB Titan camp, where some of the drivers who you wouldn't expect go #1 does end up #1. I remember Matt Latino back, I believe it was in Arizona, had a no, he DNQ'd. It might have been Las Vegas or was Pomona. I think it was Pomona. He had a really fast race car all weekend long and lost it by himself, just making a mistake on the starting line. Cody Coughlin now finds himself in the same spot. Same way for Corey Reed. He had a really good weekend so far too. Greg Anderson, like I said, finishes up in 2nd. Dallas Glenn down in 3rd with a 6:53 with a 9. The month off the Elite had, they used it to their full potential and showed up to the racetrack. They're still a little bit behind the 8 ball, but in a lot better spot than they were back before Charlotte. Erica Ender at the top of the Elite class ends up in the 4th spot, a 6:54 with a 3. A really better position to be in. They're only 100th behind, back when they're almost a 10th behind the KB Titan cars. She's a top-rating Elite driver. Corey Reed, a really strong weekend for himself. He ends up in the 5th spot. Matt Hartford down in 6th. Dave Connolly, who is filling in for an injured Eric Latino, who just had knee surgery. He'll be back before, I believe, at the end of June. I know that they already said he's going to sit out Bristol. It's still up in the air what's going to happen with Virginia as well as Norwalk. So that's going to be a story that we follow as we head into the next few weeks, heading into the summer months of the season. Chris McGahey down, ending up the final driver in the top half with a 6:56 with a 4. Aaron Stanfield down in 9th. His dad, Greg Stanfield, down in 10th. Jake Coughlin in 11th. Mason McGahey in 12th. Derek Kramer in 13th. Troy Coughlin Jr. in 14th. Kenny Delco 15th. Brandon Miller, because of the fact there are no cars getting bumped from the race, he ends up in the final 16th position. He will make race day with a 6:65 with an 8. In funny car, Austin Prock holds on to the top spot, came really close to breaking the track record for funny car. He takes it with a 386, miles ahead of everybody, 300ths ahead of the field, with Bob Tasker, the third hometown driver, ending in second with a 389, tying Paul Lee with the 389 with the 1, but beating him a mile an hour as Tasker had a 335, Paul Lee with a 329. Blake Alexander, an impressive run-up in 4th. He had probably the most interesting story of anybody in funny car. In Q4, right as they're getting ready to pull into the water box for their run, rain started to fall. They pushed the cars back, and they started to tear down, thinking they were going to go back up for the Q4 one, thinking that they weren't going to get the window to have the possibility to finish qualifying. But they were ended up told, hey, go to lanes. They didn't have time to put the engine back together. They sat out Q4. He ends up in the 4th spot. Jack Beckman down in 5th. Your Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty winner. Lex DeJoria down in 6th. Cruz Pedregon, and a really strong weekend for him, coming off the Chicago weekend where he exploded the body, came in the race day, made it to the semifinals. A really impressive start to the weekend. Could that explosion have been the turnaround that they were looking for in the performance? He ends up in the 7th spot. Spencer Hyde, 8th. Matt Hagan, the first car in the bottom half, in 9th. J.R. Todd exploded the body as well in Q4. Burst panels came out from the way he's describing. The chassis might not be salvageable for this weekend. He ends up in the 10th spot. Ron Capps down to 11th. Daniel Wilkerson in 12th. Chad Green finishes 13th. Dave Richards in 14th. Philip Burkhart, returning to funny car, driver of the WWF Racing Team car. He ends in the 15th spot. Buddy Hall finishes the field in 16th. No drivers going home. And in top fuel, Doug Coletta. Again, you want to talk about a fast racetrack this weekend. They broke the speed record. I believe Doug reset it twice. They came close to breaking the ET record as well, especially in that Q4 run. He came oh so close to breaking it. Doug Coletta #1 honors with a 367 set during the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty final, which he won, defeating Tony Stewart, who bumped his way up from, I believe, 6th all the way up to 2nd with a 369. Antron Brown down in 3rd. Sean Reed in 4th. Brittany Force in the 5th position with Sean Langdon down in 6th. Justin Ashley ends in 7th with a 371, with Ida Zetterstrom, who was not supposed to be racing this weekend in Epping, found the funding to go out all the way up to New Hampshire. She finds herself in the 9th spot with a 374, or 8th. Steve Torrance ends up in 9th with a 374 with a 6. In 10th is going to be Josh Hart. 11th is Dan Mercier. 12th is Clay Milliken, who has struggled all weekend. 13th is going to be Scott Farley. 14th, Mike Bucher. And 15th is going to be Rit Pustari, who rounds up the field in 15th, and there will be a bye run for Doug Coletta in round 1 tomorrow.
Now we're cooking. Now we are cooking out here. 87 short time for Coughlin, goes 6:53.7. There's the new #1 qualifier. Stanfield runs a 56, but Cody Coughlin jumps to #1 with that mid-980 60 foot time and put it all together out there. And Austin Brock is thundering 386, 331 miles per hour. Yeah, buddy.
Austin Prock, 386, goes to #1, going to jump aboard the lobster pot chair and hold a live lobster for the rest of the session.
Final round, Mission Foods, Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge, Smoke and Doug. Doug off the line first. And Doug is going to get there. 367. Doug Coletta takes the #1 spot at 337.24 miles per hour. The fastest run in New England Dragway history. Doug Coletta resets the track speed record. He goes 3:67.0. He just missed the ET record in the process and takes the #1 qualifying position and the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge.
Brand Ambassador Angel Sampey puts the medallion around Doug Coletta's neck. Doug, another Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty win, a #1 qualifier, and a track speed record. This Coletta team is dominant right now. How?
Yeah, you know, Alan Johnson's turning the screws on this thing, and Mac and all these Mac Tools Toyota guys are making it happen. So it's just a consistency of everything everybody's doing, and Yeah, these Mission Food chips will definitely go good with the lobster that we're going to have tonight. So, yeah, just real happy to be able to pull this off. And, yeah, we're just glad we got it in. It seemed like the weather was right on our tail here, but we got it done. So, good deal.
Off the line first, Beckman. Great drag race. It goes to Jack. 391.3 beats a 392.0 by 12 thousandths of a second. I hope we have more of that in store tomorrow, because if we do, Nitro Funny Car is going to be awfully fun. Fast Jack gets it done.
Brand Ambassador Angel Sampey puts the medallion around Jack Beckman's neck, signifying a Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty win. Jack, a win in Chicago, a win on Saturday. How do you keep the streak going?
Well, I think you guys should have had a camera in our pits. We warmed up for this round, had to change motors. Looked like it grabbed a main bearing on the thing, thrashed the thing together, got up here, started raining, they sent us back to the pits. We thought it was over. I put all my stuff back in the lounge. He said, nope, roll back up there. We roll back up, it starts raining a little bit. They're like, nope, your guys are gonna run. Suit up, hop in the car, it won't start. Switch gas jugs, it fires up. I shortened the burnout up. I apologize to Matt, I was a little slow going into stage. Things felt like it dropped a hole on the run. It was pulling hard left. I got the wheel cranked all the way right. And I'm like, well, I don't see him, and it is for Mission Food points. We'll stay on it this run. Good teams run all right. Great teams run good when the chips are down. That's a pretty good play on words for Mission Foods, but the chips were down and the Peak Squad came through with flying colors. We'll take the money. Thanks, Juan Gonzalez, Mission Tortilla Chips. This is awesome.
Final round, Mission Foods, Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge and Pro Stock. Hartford off the starting line first by 600ths of a second. And Matt Hartford's got his second Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge win of the year. 6:55. Matt Hartford low for the session as well. Statement run for Eddie Granaccia and that Total Seal team.
Brand Ambassador for Mission Foods, Angel Sampey, gives the medal to Matt Hartford. Matt, you won the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty, and you went low of the round. Where do you find this performance?
I don't know, but man, I'm glad that we had our car loaded up because we didn't think we were going to get this run in. I'm glad that the weather cleared. You know, everybody back at Total Seal and Rob's and Rottler, Summit, you know, the host connection, you know, just everybody that supports us. You know, Steve and Pat at Getrix are always on board with us. You know, my crew is just phenomenal. We were down a man yesterday, so it was only 3 of us, so that was a lot of work. But, you know, between my wife and Eddie, they busted their butts yesterday. But Adam's back now. He brings us luck every time he shows up. You know, this is the 3rd time we won this Mission deal, and that's it's really special for us, and it's an awesome thing what Mission does, putting this on for the sport. I hope it continues for a long time, and we just want to keep racking up the points.
And that is going to wrap the video. Looking into race day, it's going to be really interesting with the track conditions. We had on and off rain both on Friday and on Saturday. The really far up in the Northeast and Lobster Country, you know, it's going to be a really, really fun day. I know last year was really exciting, and I believe the funny car is going to come down to the same way, where it's an all JFR final. Austin Proc is far and above, really far ahead of everybody else in the class this weekend. The only thing that's really going to hold him back is the gremlins that car has, the new setup that they're trying on that car. He smoked the tires in Q3, had a really good pull in Q4. So if he can keep all cylinders lit and keep the tires under him and make it down the racetrack, he's going to be far and away the driver to beat. It's going to be a clinic out there if that Cornwell Tools Camaro is able to hold on to the pace that they have. Looking to the rest of the ladder as well, I mean, it's going to be interesting. Bob Tasca seems to have the pace this weekend, but again, it's just challenges of whether or not that car can make it on the racetrack. That has been the biggest challenge for them, and just keeping all 8 holes lit. That's going to be their #1 challenge heading into this weekend. If they can keep the speed as well, they might have a shot. Paul Lee is looking really strong. Blake Alexander had an impressive run this afternoon as well. And for a turnaround of a brand new team, it's going to be a big challenge to see if he can go some rounds and keep that car under them. Looking at Top Fuel, Tony Stewart still on fire. The same position as Chicago, goes into race day #2. He has a really strong opportunity of going for his 3rd win this weekend. I believe he has it. Did not look too strong in the Q2 run, but when he's in there in the heat of the day, even though up there I don't know exactly how hot it was, it's pretty mild considering it's all the way up in New Hampshire. But this car in the heat of the day really seems to have the pace and the feet under it to go around. He has still not failed to make it out of the first round at any of the opening events of the NHRA season. And this car is insanely strong top to bottom. I know he's still a bit reluctant to call himself a championship favorite, but by all means, he has the car to do it. Antron Brown as well. The Coletta teams are really strong. Josh Hart still turning some corners. I also want to give another shout out to Chris Pedregon. He's going to be one of the guys I follow heading into Bristol. If he can keep the performance of this car on race day, even if it's a round 2 loss, I still look at this as a massive improvement for this car. To be able to not only turn on the wind lights, but now have the consistency again to do it is a really big step in the right direction for that snap-on Dodge. I know it's exactly what him and his entire team has been looking for to really turn the pace around in that funny car. And looking in Pro Stock, this is something that Jason Galvin mentioned. Cody Coughlin has a race car under him. He has a really, really strong chance of pulling the upset and being the first person besides Greg Anderson and Dallas Glenn to win this season. He has a really, really strong race car. This is the first time he's going to go into race day with this strong of a chance in his rookie season of winning an NHRA national event. But with how tight this field is and how much it's going to rely on the reaction time on the starting line, is going to be a big question on whether or not the nerves are going to get to him and he's able to keep the nerves put down at bay and is able to get the job done to take out some of these drivers. He's going to face off against Brandon Miller in the first round, and then he'll face either Chris McGahey or Aaron Stanfield. That round 2 matchup, if it's Cody Coughlin versus Aaron Stanfield, that's going to be one to watch because, you know, with the fact that the elite cars are now starting to turn the corner in the engine department to get the car back to where they need to be, Aaron Stanfield could be a guy that could go rounds and win this weekend with the ladder that he has set for himself. It's going to be very, very interesting. I want to see... I'm not sure who his semifinal opponent could be, but, you know, regardless of the fact, Aaron Stanfield is going to be a threat. Dallas Glenn and Greg Anderson, of course, those two are always going to be threats. Matt Hartford won the Mission Foods Too Fast, Too Tasty Challenge. In these positions, he's always a threat. It's just a big question of whether or not that car has finally turned the corner. But, man, oh, man, this is going to be an exciting weekend. I cannot wait for race day to see where we're going to go. If you want to keep up to date with everything that's going on, be sure to subscribe to the channel down below so you don't miss any of the upcoming content. We have an exciting summer month set up as we get ready to head out for Bristol next weekend for the Thunder Valley Nationals. I am so excited to get to go back down to Bristol, Tennessee. And then in a couple weeks' time, we'll be back in Norwalk for the Summit Racing Equipment NHRA Nationals from the Norwalk Dragway. It's going to be absolutely incredible. And I do want to give one final shout out to somebody. I had a viewer, I know he's probably going to be watching this tonight, Gil Coughlin, who was gracious enough to send me a Wally from the 2019 NHRA TV Challenge. He commented on one of the videos in the past that he wanted to send me this Wally, and I'm going to give him a huge shout out. It just came in today. Kevin, who brought this home, was giddy about this. This is such a cool deal for him to have this and for me to have this as well. So a huge shout out to him, as well as the fact that he not only sent me a Wally, but also this Bill Jenkins Grumpy Toy Diecast, which he told me he was starting the diecast. Sorry, box closed. He didn't tell me it was signed. This is almost as, I want to say this is almost cooler than the Wally. I don't really know how you can say that, but regardless, this is so cool. He also sent me some other goodies as well as stickers and a flag that I know that Kevin's already talking about, things that we can do with that. So thank you to Gil Coughlin for sending me that. Again, you guys are incredible. All you viewers who stop me in the pits, who send me their own Wallies, and everything in between. It's just absolutely incredible the support we receive here on the channel for what we're doing, and without you guys, we wouldn't be able to be doing what we are doing. So thank you guys so much for watching. Comment down below who you think is going to win tomorrow, and until Sunday afternoon, this is Buddy Mac. We'll see you next time.